What's going on YouTube? So today we're here in sunny Austin, Texas to take a look at the all-new Lexus TX. Now we did a full video that was discussing a lot of different versions of the TX, but a big part of the TX lineup is the F Sport model, and that's what we're standing next to right now. So we want to take a dedicated look in this video at this TX 500h F Sport Performance. So let's go ahead, dive in. Now, of course, when it comes to F Sport models, a big part of why people usually choose those is because the design is the most aggressive in the lineup. That does carry over for the TX, but to a slightly less degree, honestly, than some of the other Lexus products. The main reason why is because this new TX is using something called the brand new unified spindle grille. That means a lot of this front end is going to be body colored now and kind of blend in with the rest of the body panels instead of that really distinct and defined spindle grille that you have on the RX and other Lexus products. That makes this look a little bit more toned down, but you do get some special things for F Sport duty. You'll notice down here we're going to have some silver accents that are going to run all across the bottom of the vehicle. Also over here in our fog light housing, this is going to be a larger panel. It's also going to be finished in a gloss black for the F Sport model. Now that I'm down in this area, I might as well go ahead and mention that we do have LED fog lights on board, and as far as the rest of the lighting, this is the same on the F Sport model. Full LED projector headlights. We also have this new inversed arrowhead daytime running light and turn signal indicator. Now before I go any further, I do want to mention that the F Sport Performance model is only going to be available with the TX 500h powertrain, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in the video. Let's get into the wheels though. This is the only option you get. It's going to be a standard 22-inch alloy wheel. This has a totally distinct design from the rest of the models with this kind of Y-spoke contrast look. Looks pretty cool overall. And as we move on, we do have F Sport branding. You're going to have a black finish up here on the top of the mirrors, and these are going to be fully loaded like any other TX model. So you're going to have power folding, auto dimming, heating, and blind spot monitoring.
Now, they say everything is bigger in Texas, and I think that's certainly going to apply to this Lexus Texas because it's coming in at 203.2 inches long, which is about 10 inches longer than the Lexus RX. It's longer than the Grand Highlander, and as a matter of fact, this is the longest and largest SUV Lexus has in their lineup right now. So definitely you can see that here at the side. Now, as far as some of the F Sport design elements specifically, we do have black on the door handles, blacked out window surrounds, and this piece right here, as well as a blacked out roof rail up top. But let's go ahead and transition around to the rear design of this vehicle. As you can see, we have an all-new look for this TX model. It's kind of big looking, and I think that's definitely a good move from Lexus. You want this TX to have that presence, and certainly it does here in person. Now, as far as some of the design elements going on here, we do have an exposed rear wiper, and we have the newest Lexus taillight design. It's going to be full length. We have Lexus spelled out across the back, and all of the elements in this taillight are full LED, including your turn signals, your brake light, and your reverse light. Now, as we drop down to the lower area, we do have a special silver accent for the F Sport model. Oddly enough, you're not going to have any exposed exhaust outlets, even for this performance version. And as far as the tow rating, it's 5,000 pounds on all TX models, regardless of what powertrain you choose. And I do want to mention your safety systems before we go inside the cabin. You're going to have all 4 of your active safety features as standard equipment on this TX model, and you do additionally have a traffic jam assist available if you want to buy that. That's going to be it for the F Sport on the outside, but before, if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the interior. First, we'll take a look at the key fob, though. Standard smart entry on all models. This is your typical Lexus key fob. You do have an available digital key system as well. And as far as getting inside the vehicle, this does have the touch-sensitive pad behind it, so you just pinch the door handle, and that's what's going to open up the door. Now, taking a look inside the interior, we do have some exclusive F Sport items, and really the main thing on board is going to be the seats. So let's talk about those first. What you'll see with the F Sport is that we're going to have the aggressive F Sport seats. We're going to have heavy bolstering here on the sides as well as down here on the bottom. And you also do have the exclusive F Sport branding in the headrest. Additionally, this has a two-tone finish. So we have kind of the gray and the black scheme. And then you've got the Alcantara inserts on the sides. As far as the seats themselves, most TXs will come with 10-way power adjusting seats. The F Sport models will be 10-way power adjusting, and we also have the aluminum pedals and the aluminum skid plate. But let's go ahead and climb inside. Now that we're fully inside, we'll look at the rest of the materials. Again, you'll notice the two-tone finish over here on the door trim. Nicely leather wrapped as well. Leather running through the center section and soft touch along the top. When we move to the upper dashboard, this will all be a soft touch plastic. We do have a suede insert that's going to be here in the center section, and then as we go down through here, this is all going to be a soft touch plastic, and we've got a small darkened wood accent that runs right through there. That's going to be on just your higher end versions. But let's go ahead and fire it up. Now, of course, like we mentioned, this is the hybrid model, so you're not going to necessarily hear the engine fire up. Let's go ahead and take a look at the gauge cluster. So with the F Sport model, you're going to have the standard premium 12.3-inch gauge cluster design. This, of course, is fully digital. As you can see, it's going to contain some aspects of performance as well as hybrid system information, and it does change design when you do things like change your drive mode. So as you can see, you get that kind of cooler, racy design. Additionally, though, and I think more importantly, is the fact that the F Sport Luxury, like we're in right now, does have a very nice head-up display. This is one where you control with the touchpads on the steering wheel, and you can do almost all the functions inside of that without having to look down. Now, as we pull back to the steering wheel, we've got the exclusive F Sport design, perforated leather bolsters here on the side, nice feel in the hand. It is going to be power adjusting as well as heated. But let's talk about interior storage, because just because you have the F Sport model doesn't mean you don't want to have a lot of storage, and indeed this delivers. So first of all, here at Car Confections, we like to do the donut test because that is our emblem, a donut. And inside of this console, we fit 18 donuts. That is more than a dozen for you guys looking at that. And this is absolutely enormous. I'll try to pull some of these out so you guys can just get a sense of how large this is and how much stuff you can fit in here. Very, very impressive in that regard. Now, also impressive is the fact that this area is versatile. We have our two big, large cup holders, but you can actually pinch that and remove both of these if you want to use this as just kind of an extra storage area. And you've got a standard wireless phone charging pad, 3 USB-C connections up here in the front, and then you've got the small compact shifter off to the left side of that. Speaking of the shifter, you do have paddle shifters on the steering wheel when you're in drive. When we go into reverse, with this version, you're going to see our 360 camera pop up. This does have the cool transparency view as well, so as we back up here, you'll notice that the car kind of becomes transparent. That's very neat. And we also have the new advanced parking system. So this allows for automatic parallel and perpendicular parking, and you can actually do this outside of the vehicle. It's a new thing that Lexus is rolling out to some of their models. Now coming up here, we do have 2 audio systems on board, 12 speakers or a 21 speaker Mark Levinson Pure Play audio system. This luxury model does come with the Mark Levinson sound system. It sounds really, really good. Down here at the bottom section of the display is where you'll find all your climate controls. So standard 3-zone automatic setup. You do have physical knobs, which I like, kind of built into the display. And as far as other systems here, you have heated and ventilated seats. All these things are going to work automatically, by the way, with the climate concierge system, so the vehicle itself can decide whether to use those or not. As far as the rest of the display, this is the newest Lexus system. It's going to be a 14-inch display. You have all the features that you want, including wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay abilities. Now as we rise up here to the top, you have the digital camera rear view mirror if you have the technology group. And then last but certainly not least, let me open up our large panoramic sunroof. I know a lot of you guys like that airy feel inside the cabin. You do have this, and the front panel does open up.
And let's go ahead and talk about the practicality with this Lexus TX. Now, of course, that's not going to change if you choose the F Sport model, so this is going to be one heck of a rear seat area. So let's go ahead and dive into some of those numbers. First, 39.5 inches of legroom, 38.5 inches of headroom. That is a very impressive figure. It's bigger than Acura MDX. It's really bigger than all of the competition. It's a lot of space. I'm 5'9" for reference. The seat is adjusted to Drew, who's 5'8". As you can see, I have plenty of room. Now, if you want all of our measurements and stuff, we do have that in our full in-depth review of the TX. We want to kind of focus here on the F Sport model. Now, as far as features are concerned, we do have some special features. So we have our 3-zone climate, but you'll notice that we also have heated rear seats and 3-stage ventilated rear seats. That's going to be an option here on this F Sport model. Certainly nice for a Texas heat day. And then down below that, you have 2 USB-C ports. We have an optional household style outlet as well to keep everything charged up. Now, one of the really important things to mention about the F Sport model specifically is because it is locked into the 500H powertrain, that does mean you're only going to get the captain's chair set up. So 6-passenger seating if you choose the F Sport model. And these captain chairs are very nice. First of all, we can slide them forward and back. We can also recline them a very good distance. So very comfortable. We have a nice armrest, and we're going to have this center storage area, which is really cool. Additionally, you have the ability to remove the cup holders just like you do in the front for maximum utility. So definitely a lot of good stuff going on back here, but do keep in mind if you want the bench seat, you will have to go for the 350. Now over here on the door trim, we have a nice rear window sunshade. It's made of mostly nice materials, two-tone finish, and we do have a lot of storage down in the very bottom. Now let's check out the third row. So in order to get back here, Lexus made it very easy. You just push this button right here. When you push it, the seat electronically folds forward and slides out of the way, and they did say they really made it an emphasis on getting into the third row and making that easy. And as you can see, I have plenty of room for my feet to get back here, so definitely a very good setup there. Now, sitting in the third row of this Lexus TX, I have to say, this is a very impressive place to spend time. 33 inches of rear legroom. That's going to be the same as the Toyota Grand Highlander, much improved over Acura MDX and QX60. This is a massive amount of space. As you can see, the thigh support is fantastic. I also have room for my feet to slide up underneath the seat. Lovely, lovely third row. As far as how it ranks on our third row scale, this is definitely fit for a king. Now, I do want to point out a few things. Only 2 seats back here. Nice Alcantara finish, as well as the leather in the center. Nice two-tone look to it. Additionally, as far as features, we have the power adjustment, so we can actually power recline the seat itself, which is very nice. 2 more cup holders back here, a USB port, and rear vents, which is something missing from the MDX. And one of the really amazing things about having a vehicle so long and so practical is your cargo area. Now, we do have a hands-free power tailgate on all models, and as far as the cargo capacity is concerned, 20 cubic feet behind the third row seats. If we power fold those down, yes, you do have a power folding third row on this model, you're going to have 57 cubic feet of cargo capacity, and if we fold the second row down to get our maximum figure, we're looking at 97 cubic feet of cargo capacity. Do keep in mind there are not any handles back here to fold the second row. I wish they would have maybe thought of improving on that, but 97 cubic feet is an incredible amount of space. That's much larger than MDX, much larger than most of its rivals, and certainly going to be something that families are enjoying. Additionally, you're not losing out on any space even though you have the 500H hybrid powertrain. Now, as far as other features, down here on the floor we have a little bit of underfloor storage, and you do have an outlet here on the left side for tailgating. Alright guys, here we are behind the wheel of the all-new Lexus TX. This is the 500H F Sport Performance, so we're certainly very excited to see what this is all about. And in this test drive, we're going to be talking about a lot of different things, as you can see on the screen right now, including getting our sound level reading. But first, let's go ahead and start with the hard acceleration.
Alright. There's a little punch of the accelerator. I'll just go ahead and apologize in advance. We're in Austin, Texas, and this happens to correspond with the Austin City Limits Music Festival. So we're kind of in a...
Traffic is not great.
Yeah, this is a bit of a traffic disaster right now, but we're going to do our best to show you guys the performance of this F-Sport Performance. This is the 500H powertrain, and that's the only way you can get the F-Sport, as we mentioned, on the outside. So what that means is you have that 2.4-liter turbocharged four-cylinder engine with a front electric motor, a rear E-axle. And this is making 366 horsepower, 406 pound-feet of torque. Obviously, very healthy numbers. It's going to be good for a 0 to 60. I believe it's 6.1
seconds.
6.1 seconds. I'm very close.
Yeah, that is a very quick 0 to 60, guys. And I mean, certainly that quick punch of the accelerator before we had to stop in traffic, very impressive. I mean, 500H is the upgraded engine choice over the regular 350, so you want it to be quick and powerful, and certainly I think it fulfills that need, that's for sure.
I have to say, really, the torque is very impressive. This pushes you back in the seat when you press down on the throttle, even as you're kind of moving already. That feels very nice. I certainly like this. In the past experience with the Grand Highlander, which does offer this powertrain option, it was quite impressive as well, but I don't know, I feel like this is tuned to feel a little bit sportier, of course, as you might expect, because it is the F-Sport Performance.
Yeah, and you do get direct 4 all-wheel drive as standard equipment for this 500H model, so that definitely puts all that power and torque to the ground really, really well.
So we're rounding a few corners. I'll talk a little bit about some first impressions behind the wheel here. Certainly it feels, I think, sportier, obviously, than the standard version. As far as what you're getting additional with the F-Sport Performance, this is kind of the key elements of the performance. You're going to have adaptive suspension, so that's exclusive to this version. That obviously means when you do things like go into your sport mode, it's going to kick you into kind of locking those suspensions down a little bit, tighter handling, tighter steering. The other thing is that the F-Sport Performance has rear steering, and that can go 4 degrees, helping you to turn quicker when you're at speed, or also like when you're parking. It's very helpful in that regard as well. But those things are what's going to make this feel like the sportiest version, even though technically the upcoming plug-in hybrid, the 550H Plus, is a little bit faster than this, to 60 miles per hour. This is still the performance option because that model is not going to get these little performance bits that I just mentioned.
Yeah. Now we do have a 6-speed automatic transmission on board with this 500H. I think it is a very good mate to the engine setup because it's a very torque-rich engine, as we said earlier with the numbers, and the 6-speed automatic really just goes well with it. It shifts enough gears to get you the power when you need it, but also it's still refined and smooth, which I really appreciate. Also, I appreciate that this is a hybrid system with a traditional 6-speed automatic as compared to an ECVT, which is what you get on the plug-in hybrid 550H Plus model. And of course, this is a luxury SUV after all, so I do want to talk about ride quality. Now, Drew already mentioned a little bit ago that you do get adaptive dampers when you choose this F-Sport Performance model, and right now we're riding around in sport mode, yet I still feel like it has very good ride quality. It soaks up the bumps very well, and I'll go ahead and switch it back into the normal drive mode. And we'll see how that affects the ride quality.
Oh yeah, you can feel a difference for sure. Now I will say, this is a big SUV, so even when we're in the sport mode, you're not going to forget that there is quite a bit of mass for sure. When you feel a little bit of body roll, but it's much better controlled than the Grand Highlander.
Yeah, and the ride quality is very luxurious. I will also say these seats are phenomenally comfortable. Lexus does seats very well, and that is going to be the case for this TX F Sport, that's for sure.
All right, we finally got an opportunity there to kind of go from a stop.
That's quick.
Yeah, it definitely is quick. And you actually might have heard a little wheel chirp there. That was, I guess, the direct 4 all-wheel drive system deciding how to route the power there for a second. But once it hooks up, you're going.
Yeah, and the F-Sport does also have a special sound enhancement as well. So the engine noise, I will say, doesn't sound bad. Yes, this is a 4-cylinder. You can get the V6 if you choose the plug-in hybrid model, but the 4-cylinder sounds pretty good in this model. I think they've done a good job of kind of tweaking the noise to make it actually sound refined. Yeah. That's some serious performance. I mean, when you're talking about this in terms of some of its competition, this feels quite a bit faster than even the MDX Type S, if you ask me.
Right,
the torque really just is a lot.
Right, so this would be kind of designed to be in line with something like that, for example, and yeah, this definitely does feel faster behind the wheel.
And as far as some of the practical bits about this TX, we're heading back to the city core, so we're going to be sitting in a lot of traffic, and you might be curious as to what fuel economy you're going to be getting with this model. The 500H is actually better than the 350, so the 350 is your standard powertrain option. That's a 2.4 liter 4-cylinder. Makes quite a bit less horsepower, quite a bit less torque, but it gets 23 miles a gallon combined, and in this F-Sport, or 500H F-Sport Performance, 27 mpg combined. I think that's a really strong selling point of this model. Not only are you getting a lot of performance, 27 miles a gallon combined is very, very impressive. And of course it operates as a hybrid system because it is a hybrid after all. So sitting in traffic, the engine will go ahead and turn off and do all of those hybrid-y things. And then the plug-in hybrid, if you're curious about that, Lexus says it's estimated to have 33 miles of full electric range. And as far as fuel economy on that, they say 29 miles a gallon combined. And before we slow down there, going 55, we're sitting at a sound level reading of 50.8 decibels. Very impressive. Now, in this defense, we are on a pretty freshly paved road, but I'd say this is relatively equivalent to some of the roads that we have in Kentucky, even though we are here in Texas. So, very impressive sound level reading for this Lexus TX. And one thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go to carconfections.com because you might be curious as to how it compares to stuff like the Volvo XC90, those other rivals, the Acura MDX, and let's see how it compares in terms of the sound level. And when I went to carconfections.com, that actually places this TX 500H F-Sport Performance as the quietest mid-size luxury 3-row that we've tested out. It's above the XC90, above the QX60, and the Acura MDX. Very impressive.
Right now, of course, we will be testing it out officially in Kentucky eventually.
And let's go ahead and talk about one of our other signature Car Confections elements, the Slam Dunk and Air Ball. Now, Drew, I'm going to have you kick us off with the Slam Dunk.
I think for the Slam Dunk, we're going to do the powertrain, and not really just the powertrain, but kind of this performance enhancement over the Grand Highlander. I think when you look at it, you might have the tendency to think that, it's just going to be like the Lexus version of the Grand Highlander, but they did do some additional stuff to make this legitimately a better driving vehicle.
Yeah, and as far as our airball is concerned, we haven't mentioned the price up until this point in the video. We have a pricing section coming up here in just a second, but this is about $80,000, just a touch shy of it, and that is a lot of money. Certainly that is more than even an MDX Type S, more than a lot of the other competition. And lastly, as far as the warranty is concerned, we do have Lexus Signature Warranty for your 50 basic, 6-year, 70,000 mile powertrain. Additionally, you're going to have 2 complimentary service visits. And let's talk pricing for this 500H F-Sport model. Now, all of this doesn't come cheap, so we're going to be starting at $69,350 for the premium version. If you want the luxury, it's going to be a little bit more expensive, $72,650. And if you want all the options, like what we have on today's example, It's going to cost you $78,549 as tested. So certainly not a cheap option, but you are getting a lot with this TX. And if you're a smart shopper, the next place you're going to go to is carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now on there we have a tool that will connect you with dealers in your local area to get you the best price on your new vehicle. Additionally, it's going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which you can use to negotiate with your dealership. If you want to take advantage of that, a link is provided in the video description. And guys, that's going to wrap up our in-depth review of the all-new 2024 Lexus TX 500h F Sport Performance. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, we would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you're joining in on our family, and we have a ton of automotive content that you won't want to miss out on. And just be a part of the Car Confections family. We have a lot of fun on this channel you won't want to miss out on. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.